We are here at Humble Cup, and I'm here with a special guest today. We do like to have special guests on the podcast. She's a lovely face here in Fort Mill, South Carolina. She's a fitness professional. If you take a look at her Instagram page, it's pretty professional, guys. She knows what she's doing. Miss Lindsay Clements Fit. Is that right?
Yeah,
Lindsay
there we
Clements
go.
Fit. Yeah,
Perfect, yeah.
yeah. So I'm excited to have her here on Coffee Conversations with Fit Emmett, where I get jazzed up on the best coffee in town, some of the best coffee around town. Today we're at a local favorite. We've been here before, Humble Cup. And this is, I asked Lindsay where she wanted to go, and Humble Cup was like the first thing that came to mind.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I think the only thing.
Pretty much the only thing. We only go to Humble. I'm sorry.
Okay. Big shout out to Humble. I guess you guys are doing something right. So we appreciate your coffee, the environment, the atmosphere, the energy. I can tell that it has a welcoming, warming feel when you walk in. So you're not only going to get a cup of coffee, but you'll get a nice, pleasant environment. If you want to sit on the side and do a little bit of work, or they have like a kids area that we kind of walk through. If you want to sit and drink your coffee and kind of hang out with the kids, that's a thing to do as well. Yeah. All right. So Coffee Conversations with Fit Emmett. We're going to discuss all things health, wellness, lifestyle, spirituality, business, kind of like all the things. We're going to touch on a lot of different things here with Lindsay, because this is a conversation with a dear friend. Even though I've known her for 10 minutes, everyone's a friend in Fit Emmett's world. So, Lindsay, I guess, tell us a little bit about Lindsay. What do you do, and who do you serve in this world?
All right. So thank you for that introduction. Yes, my name is Lindsay. Should I look at you or the camera? I don't really know.
You can do both, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. So my name is Lindsay. You know, my family and I moved to Fort Mill about a year ago. Okay. So
where'd you guys move from? I'm always curious to see where all the transients are moving from. If it's like the same area, then I'll know not to like vacation there.
Yeah.
Like, so people are all moving from where? Ohio? Okay, I don't need to go there. Yeah, but anyway, so where are you guys moving from?
So we were actually living in Pensacola, Florida. Okay. So I was stationed there. I was in the military.
Okay.
So
what branch of service?
Navy.
Navy. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. Does Navy have like a hoorah or a hoo-ha?
Hoo-yah.
Hoo-yah
for Navy.
Hoorah for
Hoorah for Army, I believe.
Army, Marines, or
no, oorah for Marines.
Oorah.
We're all a little bit different, you know.
Okay, so yours is what?
Hoo-yah.
Hoo-yah.
Hoo-yah. Hoo-yah, Navy.
I'm a big supporter of. I'm very patriotic when it comes to our military, our police force, anyone that serves and protects our country. Like, I am 100% behind you. So thank you for your service. So how long?
So 9 years.
9 years.
Yeah,
okay.
I did it for basically ever since I got out of college. My husband and I grew up in Virginia Beach area. Okay. So we graduated college. We moved to the West Coast. I was in the Navy for a long time. We moved around.
So you guys got together in college?
Yes. Technically, we knew each other from high school. Yeah. Oh. We were friends in high school. But
wow. How often does that happen, that a relationship finds its way from high school
into college?
To like college and then after college?
Yeah, I don't know. I do feel like it's getting more and more rare these days. But it's fun because I feel like we've known each other since we were kids.
Yeah, that's something special to be said there.
It's fun. Yeah, we kind of grown up together. But yeah, so we moved to the West Coast. I was stationed there. I worked on a ship. A lot of people in the Navy, you know, it's kind of your typical job is you'll work on a ship. Drove the ship. We went on deployment, and then
you drove the ship.
Oh yeah, drive the ship. Well, not physically.
One hand. You're just like, all right, y'all, let's go. We're off. Okay.
More like I was telling the person driving where to go and what to do.
So on this ship, sorry people, like I said, it's conversation.
Yeah, no, we liked it.
Is it a steering wheel?
It literally is. It's called a helm. It's a big steering wheel.
Helm.
Yeah.
Get the technical terms together, folks.
Yeah.
Helm. All right. Thank you for educating me today.
You're welcome.
This is great. This is good. So you're not at the helm.
No, I'm telling that person which way to drive the ship.
So that's the person at the helm is at the captain.
That's called the helmsman, and that's typically like one of the first jobs that you'd have. You kind of work your way up, you know, as enlisted personnel. You're driving the ship. Well, you have to get qualified. It's driving a ship is a big job, right? You can't just like,
it's kind of like the pilot of like an airplane. Like, hey, you got all these lives that depend on you steering this thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
So typically, the officers on the bridge, they call it the bridge of the ship. So like if you're ever to go on a cruise ship, there's that bridge. That's where everybody's like, all the control happens. So the officers on the bridge.
You were on the bridge. You were part of the bridge.
Part of the bridge.
Okay.
Yep. You are essentially, figuring out the navigation plan, which is determined by the captain of the ship, but following through with that navigation plan, telling the helmsman, which way to go, if you're getting offset by, drift from the ocean, kind of, trying to stay on course.
Yeah, sure.
So, yeah.
Man, that's awesome.
Interesting.
Staying on course. That just brought to mind like the whole being a fitness professional thing, helping people stay on course.
Oh, 1,000%.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I just got a little symbolism there. I got a little something that can work together.
Yep.
But, so you're on the ship, you're doing that, husband, Navy, you guys moved from the West Coast.
Yep. We were out there for several years. And then we ended up, my last duty station was in Pensacola.
Okay.
And that's when I had my first son. I have 2 boys now. They're 2 and 4.
Okay. Got it.
So I had our first son there.
2 and 4, 2 years apart.
Yes.
Gotta love that.
Yeah.
So you're like pregnant with one while the other one's like trying to crawl or walking.
Pretty much.
Getting in 2-year-old, they're like getting real handsy.
Yeah.
Like while you're pregnant.
Yeah.
Or while you have a new baby.
Yes.
Yeah.
I will say, like, when we got pregnant with my second, he was 1, so he wasn't quite as,
crawling and
he was just starting to walk, and we were like, all right, we got this. Like, let's have another one. We got this. And then our second came around, and we were like, we don't got this.
Yo, we got this. I like that. I'm gonna tell you parents something, little piece of advice. You never really fully got this, okay?
No.
We're all learning, okay? The kids and the adults are just maybe a step ahead. Or we try to be a step ahead, but we're learning together. So we're all learning together. So you got the 2-year-old, 4-year-old in Pensacola, during the summertime in Florida where it's hot as Hades and it's 1,000 degrees, 1,000% humidity. Okay. Keep going.
So I knew at the time that I was going to get out of the military. I think just because I liked my job, but we just had to move around so much. And then with the kids, we just kind of wanted a little bit more stability. And I grew up in a Navy family, so we always moved around, which I liked as a kid. But then after becoming a parent, I was like, kind of just want to be in one place for a little bit. So I knew that was going to be, a transition.
So growing up in that as a kid, did you see something in your childhood that you're like, I don't want this for my kids? Was it like the stability of set school, set friendships that I guess you may not have had like when you were younger, or what?
Yeah, it's interesting that you say that because I don't actually think so. Like looking back on my childhood, I always thought it was kind of fun to move to a new place and it was exciting. Oh, a new house. And I was relatively, I'm not the most outgoing person, but I was relatively like, I could make friends and, it'd be uncomfortable at first, but it was always kind of fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, not really. I think it was a good experience, but it was just maybe even more so for us. I think as adults, it's so hard to build community and make friends and
community.
And so we kind of wanted that for ourselves and then, just to settle down really, like stop having so much change. And so that was kind of the big decision. And, at the same time, COVID had hit and I got the opportunity because I was working from home now. And prior to that in the military, nobody ever worked from home. That was not a thing. And so I was working from home. I was doing some
so COVID hit and it's like, we changed everything.
Pretty much. Like
military, now you get to work from home.
If you could work from home, that was what was happening. Okay. Right. And I wasn't on a ship at the time. I was doing more of like HR kind of work. So I was working from home and actually had a friend contact me. We contacted my husband about trying to become a personal trainer for his business. He was running an online personal training business and my husband, went to school. He was a personal trainer, nutrition background. Yep. Exercise background.
It's so funny that like physical therapist was my track.
Really?
For a while. Yeah. So I moved to Charleston and the goal was to go to MUSC, but I needed a couple classes. So there's a Trident Tech has a program where you can become physical therapy assistant and then kind of move into that, get on the waiting list for MUSC to be part of the physical therapy, program. So that was the track until, I got kind of engrossed in the personal training world a little bit more. Yeah. And that led itself to starting, my business and kind of growing from there.
Yeah. And it seems like that was the right choice for you.
Yeah, that was. That was. I love and admire the whole world of physical therapy because I have a lot of physical therapists, like friends that we exchange business in terms of clients that I may not necessarily be able to serve that because they may not be as advanced to be able to do some of the things based on their challenges, limitations. So I'll have referral partners that are good friends of mine that I've sent people to.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
So physical therapy, got online coaching. Your husband got into he was in personal training.
Yep. And
became
so,
a physical therapist.
And one of his good friends from back home that he went to college with was opening his own gym because it was COVID. He was doing some online coaching. He was basically like, you know, hey, can you help me out? My husband was too busy at work at that point, and I remember him being on the phone. And I was like, I can help you out. And he was like, do you have your personal training cert? And I was like, no, but I can get it. Because at the time, I had been through a lot of my own kind of like, you know, healing, relationship with food, diet, exercise, something I was super passionate about for pretty much, you know, my whole life. And so tons of research, podcasts, books, helping friends, all the things, but just never officially got that kind of check in the box.
So that was the door that needed
to
open.
Door. I was like,
on your journey, that was the door that opened, and you looked and you were like, I think I need to take this path right here.
I was like, okay, so that day I went and signed up for, you know, personal training certification through NASM, nutrition certification, and I did start coaching for them. I did that for several months, but I think I kind of quickly realized it was just a different type of client that I was wanting to serve. They were working a lot with athletes and performance, which I was interested in, but I was more interested in helping women like in the same situation I had been in, where poor relationship with food, always thinking they need to do cardio and not strength training, and building those habits and consistency and stuff like that. So then I kind of just decided, let me go out on my own and start, you know, doing my own thing.
Gotcha. Like there's usually always a story behind my personal trainer friends and why you serve the demographic or your ideal client, your person.
Yeah.
So it sounds like your ideal client is someone that has a poor relationship with food and that thinks they have to like over cardio themselves or do a ton of exercise to account for the bad eating or whatever. So I guess give us a little background on your story as it relates to health and fitness and how we get to this point.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting that you say that because I heard someone say one time, no one ever gets into fitness because everything's going like right in their life. It's like usually get in because they're like, you're trying to fix something.
Yeah.
But I think I can relate it back to, you know, in high school, I was always like super active. I played sports and, I wasn't really overweight, but I had friends that were dieting and I was like, well, maybe I should try this. I should be skinnier. And so I started my first diet. I think that's kind of when it all started is I would restrict. And then I started developing like binge eating behavior. So for probably about, 10 years after that, I was really struggling with the restrict and the binge cycle.
So what's that restrict and binge cycle? And is there some psychology behind that needs to be understood? Cause I'm always curious as to like, okay, we restrict, and then what happens with the binging or give us kind of an overview of that cycle. What does that look like?
Yeah. So what I found out later, because I felt like no doctor, no therapist that I was going to could tell me what was the root of the issue. Right.
Yeah.
I was, I would talk to people about this and I was prescribed antidepressants to help me with my hunger cues. And it wasn't a hunger issue. It was a brain issue. And really by women or anybody who, when you over restrict yourself, right, you say, oh, I'm going to eat 500 calories a day or 1,000 calories a day and you're working out, your brain really starts like sending these signals. No, that's not enough food. You need to eat. Right. And so the longer you don't do that, the stronger those signals become to where it typically would end up in a binge to where you're going to the pantry, you get something. And then what I would do, and it happened in high school. I didn't know what was going on at the time, but I would just keep going back and back to the pantry for random stuff. Right. Like, another granola bar,
That's called boredom in my household.
Yes.
That's called I'm standing in the kitchen, so I should be somewhere in the pantry. Just because I'm standing in the kitchen, my habitual routine is
eating is entertainment.
I'm like, okay, I need a little serotonin boost, a little dopamine hit right now. What's going to do it for me? Maybe these handful of almonds that I have. And if there's something that's not that great in the pantry, I'm going to usually gravitate to that.
Yeah, because you don't usually like binge on, apples and steak or, you know what I mean? Like it's the processed stuff, right? Because it's, but I think, and that's an important distinction to make is there's a difference between overeating and binge eating, right? Like people can overeat without being a binge eater. Binge eater, it's a clinical diagnosis, which I was never technically diagnosed with, but, you have to meet like a certain criteria of how many calories you're consuming at one time and how frequently you're doing it, right? And a lot of people also associate that with, binging and purging. Like some people will binge and then make themselves sick. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I never did that. Thankfully, when I was younger, I tried to, and that's when I was at a very low point and I wasn't ever able to. So what I would do is I would, kind of compensate with my working out. So the next day after a binge, I would feel so depressed, mad at myself for what I did. And I'd go spend hours in the gym, try not to eat very much, only for that cycle to continue and continue.
So the hours in the gym, was it structured or what hours in the gym?
I say hours, I was in college, so it was maybe 1 to 2 hours, but it'd be following some strength training, but then I'd also be on the Stairmaster, be on every punishment. Yeah. Essentially. Yeah.
Punishing yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. A lot of women deal with it and a lot of people don't know.
So it sounds to me like because of your experience with that, and how long did this go on? Was this, high school?
Yeah. High school up until probably mid-20s. So probably about 10 years.
Okay. So mid-20s is when you started getting into the NASM nutritional coaching and.
So that wasn't actually until later. I feel like I started like on my own journey, in my background, actually my like educational background is in math and data analysis. So I'm a big problem solver. I like
math and data analysis.
I thought I wanted to be a math teacher at one point, and
it's so crazy how this world works itself out. So this is a message to any young kid that's going to college right now, and they're like, I don't know what to do with my life. We got
you don't have to know.
Math major right here who was in the helm of a ship on the bridge of a ship, steering a ship. Maybe that took a little math. Maybe.
A little bit, yeah.
And now we're in fitness.
Yeah.
So if you don't know, it's okay. Just keep taking a step. Mm-hmm. Keep taking a step forward. Life will send you on the right path. You just keep following. Just ask whatever the next right step is and you take it. Yeah. How about that? Anyway.
Yeah.
So.
That's cool. There came a time in my early 20s when I first started working my Navy job and all these things. And I was like, what I've been doing hasn't been working, right? Signing up for all the group fitness. I was, Orange Theory, all the things. And it just wasn't working because I couldn't get my eating in check. So, and when I say not working, I wasn't overweight. So like people from the outside, I don't think could really, maybe I was like a little bit chubby-ish for me, but, it was really controlled, but I was really struggling on the inside, So,
I feel like I've said this before in a, podcast that like a lot of the group fitness programs, they mean well. Mm-hmm. They're to serve a community, creating like a fun environment for a lot of people to get started.
Yeah.
But like there's some things that you might have to do on your own too, because the group fitness isn't going to always lend itself to maybe steering you in the right direction from the nutritional side.
Yeah.
And some of the things that you could be doing for yourself outside of that 1 hour. Outside of that 1 hour.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I think I really just went on this like self journey of like, all right, I'm a problem solver. I think anything in life, like everything is figure outable, I would say.
Figure outable. There's a book out there.
Everything is figure outable.
Everything. I think there's a book, right?
I'm sure there is.
Figure outable?
Yeah.
I heard that from somewhere. Everything is figure outable.
Everything's figure outable. Yeah. So I was like, started listening to every podcast. And I feel like back then, this is, 12-ish years ago.
Back in the day, 12 years ago. I feel
like podcasts weren't really a thing as much,
they
right?
weren't. No. They weren't. Like now it's a thing.
Yeah.
I'd say within the last like 5 to 8 years.
Yeah, it kind of skyrocketed. Yeah. So I was like listening to podcasts and I was searching binge eating. I was reading books. I was trying to figure out what was going on because again, I felt like I would go to therapists and they'd be like, well, have you ever tried just like going for a walk? And I was like, yes, I've tried that and it didn't work. So and then I kind of started realizing the simplest thing I needed to do was I needed to stop restricting. Shocker. So
that was the common denominator, I guess.
The common denominator. Let myself have some ice cream if I wanted to have some ice cream. Okay. You know what I mean? Like instead of
But how did you feel? Like what was the transition to get to that place though? Did you feel guilty?
Yeah.
Initially?
I think what helped me is, and I don't know if I would necessarily recommend this for everybody, but I ended up trying like a Whole30 situation.
Okay.
Whole30.
Yep.
Which for me was really good at the time because I was limited in the types, like the quality of food I could eat, but not the amount. Right. So I was allowing myself to eat anything as much as I wanted within the confines of like, it's a whole unprocessed food. Right. And I did that for a month and saw significant improvement and my mindset and my body, just how I felt. And then from there, I started incorporating more of like, you know, things that I enjoyed. And,
Man, you said mindset, and that's like, it's as you're talking, as you're discussing this, and I don't know if this is true or not, but I feel like a lot of the people, your clients that you may deal with, probably need like a mindset shift through the process. Cause like, I mean, I do the same thing with a lot of my clients, like, and, in life or whatever. But, the pastor of our church always says the seed of the crime's your mind. Like, if you can shift your perspective, you know, change the way you look at things, the things that you look at change.
Yeah.
You know, so that's, you giving your people another way to look at it, another way to see life or how they're doing nutrition, exercise from a more healthier vantage point instead of restriction. Like,
I think everyone probably views restriction in a different way, right? Like, you know, but I think, you know, you get this time if you work one-on-one with clients, that time in person, you get to chat with them and you're talking about all the other life stuff that's not just their workout or their, you know, meal. It's like really helping people to shift that mindset, you know what I mean? And develop a growth mindset and all the things. So I feel like once I was able to go through that journey, and then I was like, all right, now I can actually in a healthy way get into tracking my macros, right? And focus on whole foods, but still have the stuff that I want sometimes.
Yeah.
And strength training, and I just saw my body did like a complete 180. Like I had abs for the first time.
That's what I love about like tracking macros. It's like, all right, well, how do I factor in this ice cream sandwich?
And you can like
still get my protein numbers down like that. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. And so that was
there's
kind
so
of
many approaches though. There's so many different like.
Not
when
one
I say
way.
it's not one way. It's not one thing. So people think, well, I gotta eat healthy, and I gotta eat salads and chicken breasts, and I gotta eat yogurt now. I don't even like yogurt. I'm like, well,
then don't eat yogurt if you don't like it.
There's way more things out there. Like I've literally sat down with people, and they're like, "Are you gonna make me eat salad?" Like, who told you that? Why is salad the only way to be healthy in this world?
I feel like it is. I feel like that's what people think. It's like, if I want to eat, it has to be low calorie, it has to be, you know, and, you know, growing up in, you know, I don't know how old you are, Mallory, but
25.
You know, okay. So I don't know if it was as much of a thing, but I feel like, you know, when I was in high school and college, like the biggest thing was like 100-calorie snack packs. You know what I mean? It's like the low calorie, low fat. That's like
We've
everything.
had a ton of those in the house.
Yeah.
And I've justified eating 5 or 6 of those snack packs because they're only 100 calories.
Exactly.
That's just 100 more.
It's just
100 more. Yeah. And it's like.
What's 100 calories, but 30 grams of sugar each one?
Right. Yeah. So, and that's when I kind of realized like that's the client that I wanted to help, was the person who they had trouble developing those habits and shifting that mindset. And I feel like I struggled for so long. I'm like, if I could just help somebody not go through that 10, 12 year experience and just like get straight to the point. And that's kind of what I
love that. No, I love that. Like you had an experience in life and you didn't let that define you. You found a way, everything's figure outable. And now you're serving that same person that's maybe walking that same exact journey. So the clients that normally come to you, they're usually dealing with some of the same things. Is that how they find you, or how do most people find you or come across you? Lindsay Clements.
Yeah, right now I think a lot of, you know, I'm not like an influencer or anything. So right now I do.
You are an influencer.
Thank you.
You're influencing me right now. Like I think here, like there's this.
And you've got a great page. I scrolled through and there's lots of good information on there.
There's this crazy thing that like to be an influencer, you have to have 1 million viewers, followers. You got to have all these people. You got to have all these sponsorship. We're all influencing somebody on a daily basis. Like, so I think about that in my fitness, like why it's like challenging for me to like sell my audience short, because like there's somebody that needs your story. There's somebody else that out there that needs your help. And even if it's just one person that messages you and says, thank you for that video, you're an influencer.
Yeah.
You influence that one person. That one person can now maybe go change their whole family.
Yeah. Yeah.
They own if they're a CEO or CEO, they don't have to be some high up name. They could be somebody that could change their whole community by the information they got from you, just that one person.
Yeah.
So I always think of how can I influence the one person? Not influence, but like serve the one person. Cause it's not necessarily, I've gotten caught up in the numbers of it all before. and you cast this wide net and you don't really catch anybody because you're so general, or the heart's not there. The intentionality is not necessarily there. But like, as we're talking, I feel the passion behind what you do in your audience. So I appreciate that.
Thank you.
And you are an influencer.
It's so interesting that you say that. Sometimes you get so caught up in the day to day and you don't take a chance to take a step back and think, like, by impacting that one person, getting them on a healthier track, they're not only changing their life, but if they've got a family, now they're impacting the life of their kids and then hopefully those future generations. And it's really cool to think about, like, by just helping this person, shift their mindset, or teaching them a little bit about nutrition or whatever, you're able to really impact a lot of people, which is, like, you don't really think about that, but if you take the time to.
Yeah, that one person is like a domino effect.
Like, think about how many people you probably impacted in your career, how many lives you've been able to change.
I hope so.
Yeah.
We're trying. We're doing the best that I can with what I got.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
20-some years, I hope I did something.
Yeah.
Something good, not just something, because we're all doing something on a daily basis. So doing it with intention is the main thing. So, as far as like, your, approach, or how do clients or people get started with you? Like, if somebody's like listening to this podcast and they're like, I think I'm kind of in that place of, feelings like I need a mindset shift. There's some unwarranted pressure behind, like, needing to restrict foods, or I feel like I need to eat salad all the time to be healthy. How do you speak to that person, and how do they find you? Like, what's the method or the channel that they get in contact with you and all that stuff?
Yeah. Right now, I mean, I'm mostly on social media. I'm working on a website, so hopefully that will be coming in the future. But the two things I do right now, I do one-on-one coaching.
Okay.
And everything I do is right now it's online, mostly because, I've never settled down somewhere before. Now that we're here, maybe some different doors will open, but, and then I just actually launched a group program, which I'm excited about because I want to, again, I think community is so important. So
you said that earlier, and I thought, like, maybe we can get like a Facebook page or something like that, where everybody can be together, connected in a community. I know Facebook is like a false sense of connectedness, or it can be. But when you're in a group like that and you're sharing wins and tips, and kind of like we're on the same journey together, so how can we help each other? I think that like, so you guys have a Facebook group or
I do have a Facebook group. Sometimes I'm sure like sometimes it's hard to, okay, I'm here and I'm doing all these things. Sometimes I forget to post in there, but
sure.
I try.
Yeah.
But yeah, so right now I've always done one-on-one, and then I'm launching a group program. But the cool thing about one-on-one, some people don't feel like they need that maybe, but the cool thing about one-on-one is you really get to drill down into what's going on with you. And, it's just more customized, more personalized. And something that I started doing last year, which I realized after having my second baby, was I took a functional nutrition course, which taught me how to like read blood work and stuff like that too, which kind of helped me get another piece of the puzzle, especially with women and, hormones and all that kind of stuff. And so that's like another layer that I like to do with people who are working with me one-on-one, just getting that full piece of,
give you like a greater, like a more broad assessment. Like, you got more factors to kind of use as you're talking to that person. And it's not just like calories, protein, carb, fat, like
exactly.
It's a whole different ball game for women.
Yeah. Hormonal. Yeah. Hats are off to all my ladies. I've got 3 ladies at home, and, my clients always remind me that at some point everyone's period's going to like sync up, and it's going to be just massive chaos.
Yeah.
Unleashed.
But I think it could be so confusing too, because women, everything they see online, are like, oh, well, all this stuff about cycle syncing, you shouldn't do this when you're, it's like, but I feel like a lot of that is creating more of a barrier to entry. And it's like, well, I'm a woman. I shouldn't be doing this. When can I do something? What should I do?
Yeah.
And it's like, no, it's all about, at the end of the day, listening to your body.
How do you feel? Yeah.
And how do you feel? If you feel good pushing it in the gym that day, pushing the gym doesn't matter.
Wow.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of outside voices. That's something that you could speak to that, me on the other hand, I'm like, well, I would just say, well, go on a run. Freaking, if you feel like going on a run,
you feel like it, go for it. That's what I would say too.
But I'm speaking more from a fitness professional standpoint, and not an empathetic. I'm a woman and I understand that. Like, I will never understand. I'm a man.
As long as you understand that you'll never understand, you're
there
good.
You go. I'll never understand. So I think that's cool. And it's so funny. I'm going to say this on this podcast, but I see this young lady doing retreats one day.
Really?
Like,
I don't know.
Maybe
That'd be amazing.
this is a prophecy. I feel it.
I like
People, I feel the prophecy. Like,
but now I feel pressure.
like there's totally pressure. No, but I do feel it. Like, you have a great personality that's really welcoming. And I think for any, young lady that's on the journey or guy, but like, I really feel like from the hormonal aspect, you can probably speak into that more with our, young ladies and create an environment, create a community that they feel, with me, I think there's a little bit of pressure. Like, sometimes when people talk to me, they feel like they're going through confession and they feel like, Father, I've sinned, and like, I love everyone and I want the best for everyone. I don't want you to feel like I'm punishing you.
What do you
like,
say when your clients like meet you in the gym and they're like, Emmett, I just gotta tell you last night.
It was
not great. Like, how do you handle that situation?
I'm like, well, today's a new day.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go.
Yeah, fresh start.
Let's scrub it off. Let's go. Let's keep moving. Today's a new day. If we just sit here and think about what you did the weekend or what you did a couple of days ago, it's hard to move forward looking back. Mm-hmm. Like, it's hard to move forward looking in the rear view. You know what I mean? Hard to drive forward.
Yeah.
Drive looking in the rear view.
That's the exact same thing that, like, I do have several clients now because of my background that, have dealt with binge eating and stuff. And so I tell them when we start, I don't expect you to never have a binge again. Like, to be like, okay, because it's a process. And if you do, you just keep moving forward. Like, nothing happened. You don't have to restrict the next day. You don't have to, feel guilty. I mean, I'm sure there's gonna be a little bit of that. Your body might not feel great, because you just put a bunch of crap in your body. But it's like really just about every day is a new day.
I think, and that gives them permission to not necessarily snowball. I think snowballing comes from just like sitting in the misery of what you did yesterday. Blew it yesterday. I'm a failure.
Might as well blow it again today.
Forget it.
Yeah.
Oh no, I totally. I've had clients mess up the whole weekend because Friday was a bust. Friday, not the greatest day. So Saturday, Sunday, I blew it all up.
Like, weekends are the hardest for people, don't you think? Like,
yeah, why is that?
I don't know. You're the one that's been doing it for 20, 25 plus years.
Still figuring this thing out.
Yeah.
Okay. And I think it is the whole snowball effect where, maybe you're giving yourself permission because I've had such a hard week that I'm going to end the week with one drink, just one drink. Mm-hmm. That one drink turns into your friends maybe encouraging, maybe peer pressure, or maybe the stress of what you do for a living, or it could be a number of different things. There's so many factors, but yeah, the weekend snowball is like, I owe it to myself to have a good time. Like you said, maybe not viewing exercise and nutrition from a more healthy perspective, maybe looking at it as punishment. You know what I mean? Not necessarily doing something for yourself.
Yeah.
Like, hey, this is doing something to help you.
Yeah.
Be a better you. The alcohol or the high fructose corn syrup or the sugars aren't necessarily going to help you at all in that moment.
In that moment.
It's that nice little dopamine hit, and it's just, your body just starts craving more. Sugar is the most addictive drug on the planet.
Do you have treats, Emmett?
Ice cream sandwich. Okay. I think I mentioned the ice cream sandwich.
Yeah, so that was a real example.
There it is. Okay. The ice cream sandwich is a real thing, people. My personal treat. My wife gets these like mini ice cream sandwiches.
Okay.
They're maybe 50 calories, but like I eat one and I'm like, okay, that's good. And then I just keep myself from eating like 3 or 4 of them and I'm good.
Yeah. I have a question for you. What do you think of when, because I feel like I hear this a lot, like women, maybe men too, can be so obsessed with like their number of calories burned in their watch.
Yeah.
And how many, like what they're doing in a day. And like, I need to get to this many calories burned so I can, do you have an opinion on that? Or how do you teach people about that?
I like to encourage activity. Mm-hmm. Some people are all about like analytics. Like if I can get someone to just be more active than they typically are, you got more blood flow, more, the analytics are fine. Maybe the obsession with the analytics as opposed to like, if you're just obsessed with getting 10,000 steps, but you're eating trash, then we need to address, you can't outwork a bad diet. You can't out exercise a bad diet ever.
Yeah.
Ever. It ain't never gonna happen, people. So you can't justify you're eating your ice cream sandwich or eating okay, if you're eating an ice cream sandwich one time a week, no big deal. But if you're like constantly, habitually, eating junk and you're like, but I'm getting 10,000 steps every day. But like, okay, I always try to assess the underlying thing. Like if it's a habitual thing that's happening where it's an ice cream sandwich every single day, why ice cream sandwich every single day? I see you got your steps up or you're getting your steps up, but this ice cream, well, not, it wouldn't just be one, because one ice cream sandwich won't totally sink a ship.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like if it's a bottle of wine every night or something like that, like why do you feel like you need the bottle of wine?
Mm-hmm.
Why is that?
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like maybe asking why, but taking that why to another why, taking that why to another why, and then taking that why to the mindset of it all. Because the scene of the crime is the mind.
Yeah.
Like, so I need to know why that's necessary. Because if someone feels like it's necessary, then what's the meaning behind it?
Right.
What does that hold for you?
Right.
So,
yeah. I mean, do you think alcohol is a big thing that your clients struggle with? Like,
usually like alcohol, because liquid calories, I tell you, so like the way that your body metabolizes alcohol, it'll work on that first because it's a toxic substance, and if you eat anything with it, it's going to try to break down, metabolize that first, and a lot of the food's going to get stored as junk.
Right away. Yeah.
Right away, because your body's like, I have this toxic substance that's in my body that I need to get rid of, and that's just basically what it does. It tries to keep you safe by metabolizing this whatever enzymes that it needs to like enact to get rid of or break down the alcohol. It's going to do that first. Whatever food you eat or whatever's in your system to be digested, to be broken down, is put on hold or is stored. So that's why alcohol can be, one of the real roadblocks, speed bumps, can kind of slow down the progress a little bit. Won't totally hinder it, but it'll just slow everything down. Typically.
Yeah. That's what I tell my clients too, is like, it's not just calories.
Yeah.
And I'm not anti, my husband, like when I was pregnant with my second son, he became very good at cocktail making. He's very good. I'm like, Nick started with like a coffee cart. I'm like, I feel like we could start a little, I mean, his cocktails are delicious. And so, yeah, we like to enjoy those. I wasn't drinking while I was pregnant, obviously, but I was like, you perfect that while I'm pregnant. And then, when I have the baby, and we do enjoy on occasion. I think as a health professional, your opinions can constantly change to me that maybe one day I will, not drink at all, but right now it's kind of where I'm at with it. But
there's a lot of science to support a lot of different theories out there.
Sure.
And I think just one cocktail every now and then, I don't think like I said, it's not going to necessarily totally sink the ship, but it's the snowball effect. It's kind of like anything. On one ice cream sandwich isn't going to sink the ship. You have to put like an ice cream sandwich. Like,
you need a t-shirt with an ice cream sandwich on it.
Like there was a rapper I used to listen to called Young Jeezy. This is when I was into a lot of hip hop music back in the like late 90s. And he had a snowman shirt on. I just have an ice cream shirt.
I think you should have one that says, ask me how I look like this and eat ice cream sandwiches.
Yeah.
There you go. I don't know. What do you think, people?
Start making some t-shirts.
What's up? Y'all want some ice cream sandwich t-shirts?
Yeah.
Merch,
we want
baby.
It. Yeah.
Oh, man. Any other questions? Any other things that you think our people want to hear?
Well, I'm just curious, I'm just curious about you and like your journey and how you have developed such an incredible kind of, community, in-person community here. Seems like that, I don't know. Maybe just from the outside looking in.
We're trying, work in progress. I think it's intentionality.
Yeah.
It's just like I said, waking up with the idea that I want to serve one person every day. So whatever that looks like, whatever that is, it could just be in person. It could be in QT, talking to somebody about I'm usually end up in line at QT talking about why I'm getting a protein shake. If it's that person, and usually it translates to online too, showing different exercises and things, and people start following me here locally in the community, and I feel like I try to add different businesses in the community on my pages, because I think small business is important to a community, And the more people know about places like Humble Cup or Beam or a lot of the things that are going on here locally, the more we can actually create a community and be part of a community. So I think that's huge for me. And like serving businesses in that regard, because I am a business also. So yeah. I just going around the community
Talking to
people and trying to serve other people. Like,
did you ever feel like at any point in your career that you're like, I don't know if you did you ever question, I guess,
all the time.
Really?
All the time.
Okay, I was thinking about it.
Yeah. 4 years.
Entrepreneurship is not for the...
It's not, entrepreneurship is not for the faint of heart.
Right.
There are a lot of challenges that I'm going through right now that you don't see on camera. And like, I still wake up with the idea that I'm here for a reason and I'm here to serve. And that reason's got to be beyond my situation or circumstances, because the world is not about Emmett. Like, as whatever people think I am online, the world's not necessarily about me. The world's about, like, how can I serve the next person, whether it be in Humble Cup or QT or sitting across from them, sharing a drink, or if it's somebody viewing online that might need to hear one thing, one word, one thought, one idea that's going to shift their perspective. Maybe that was necessary. So I don't know. It's just, for me, just finding purpose in every day, and losing. I used to hold so tight to metrics and these specific expectations that I had to have this many clients in order to feel validated, in order to feel like I'm actually serving the world with a greater purpose. And part of it was because I had friends that, or I still do, have friends that are doing a lot in the fitness world. They're doing a lot. So comparing my business to that,
feeling like you're not,
feeling like maybe I'm not doing enough, but my doing enough has to be rooted in the right place. And doesn't have to be, or it can't be from a place of envy or like, man, maybe I should do that. Maybe I should try that. Yeah. That looks good. Maybe admiring or being inspired by different options for my clients, but not necessarily doing it to create a product, to bring people in so that they can be transactional. You know what I mean? So but that's over time. Over time, my business has gone 20 some years ago. A lot of it was higher volume because I was in a mainstream gym setting, 20 some years ago. So being in a mainstream gym setting, they teach you just sales.
Right.
So that was basically it. That was the premise behind what I did without any meaning. So my relationships became transactional. It was like, how many people do you have on the books? And how many of these people are reoccurring? Mm-hmm. And how, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, if what I realize, if I serve enough people, I'll be taken care of.
Yeah.
In a good positive way, from a good place.
Mm-hmm.
Not, let me keep this person because they're going to help pay my light bill. Mm-hmm. My light bill is going to get paid because I serve enough people, because I give what I've learned, or what I used to be obsessed, like just like you were, going, how do I figure all this out? Like reading all the books, the magazines, taking the courses. So taking all that information, because like I don't get the information just for me. I get the information so I can serve in a higher degree, you know?
You mentioned earlier, like that, I think you said that you were going to church or so. It reminds me of, and I do, like, I believe in God and have that faith there. And so I think it's interesting when I enjoyed my time in the military, but I don't feel like I was, you can make a positive impact on people, I think, anywhere. But we had a couple weeks ago, one of the sermons was about like your spiritual gift, like what is your gift, and thinking about, and I just thought about, I'm like, what I'm doing now and the way that I'm able to talk to women and listen to them, and my clients were like, oh, like you should be a therapist. And it's like, I'm not a therapist, and I, probably will never be. But I think that is
that's like a
gift,
hats off to all therapists out
I'm
there.
not a therapist.
Good job.
I go to therapy. I think it's great. But
never say never, Lindsay.
Never say never.
Never say
know.
never.
Teetering on the life coach.
Yeah, I guess.
No, totally. Like a lot of what we do is life coaching. Yeah.
And so I do feel like that's the cool thing about what I do now is I don't know what it is going to look like in 5 years or 10 years, but I feel like in this moment, like I am using that gifting that I've been given.
And I don't think you need to get caught up in the how, like
Yeah.
what it should look like,
Yeah.
and
That's
just be
hard.
open to like letting it just flow.
Mm-hmm.
Because then you're trying to control like what it should look like.
I know.
Well, maybe it should look like this.
Yeah.
So then you get on this path and you're like, well, that sucks. I don't like that, but maybe it should look like this. Or why don't we be open to all possible opportunities? And then if it's life coaching, do a little life coaching. If it's the nutrition side, do a little nutrition. If you let that way, then say, okay, maybe I'll be open.
Mm-hmm.
If you're open, I think more opportunities will come.
Yeah.
But if you're just saying, I'm just going to stay this lane, this is the lane that I want to stay, then you're like, maybe shutting off opportunities that God has for you, like a little bit more broad, as in terms of just being specific or held down for just one thing.
Yeah.
That's the small business thing too. Like, you're not as in control as you think you are, and you have to be comfortable not being in control all the time.
That's
Adapt.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing about, I think, human beings and our ego. Like, we want to have this false sense of control. Like, 2020 taught us that no one has control. Like, the day is going to come. I think the biggest thing is just setting the right intention. I do try to wake up and pray and meditate and take a little time to be a little bit more intentional about my day before I get on any kind of media, social media or anything. And I try to let that be my guiding light. I say try only because I'm human.
It's constant.
I wake up, cut my alarm off on my phone, and I'm like, 5 notifications. Instead of just cutting my alarm off and laying my phone down, cut my alarm off and looking at notifications, and then being led by that. And not necessarily led from a place of setting my own intention. I'm letting my device set the intention for me. I'm letting Mr. Apple or iPhone or Instagram, Facebook, or email, whatever, or work emails, or set the intention for my day.
Yeah.
But I think as long as the only thing you can control is like how you perceive things. Is it good or bad? I don't know. I mean, I had a lot of things happen to me in my life that were unfortunate, but as I look back, I'm like, man, I get to speak into so many people's lives because of a lot of trauma that I've experienced in my own. So like, is it good? Is it bad? It wasn't, I mean, we're not in a perfect world.
Yeah.
We're not in heaven right now. So it's not like, we can think things aren't going to be great all the time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're not going to be on a tropical vacation. Everything's not what it looks like on Instagram, people.
Very true. Yeah, and that's the interesting thing about helping people too through with their health and fitness. It's like trying to show them there's seasons, and we don't live in a vacuum. And if you have a client and they have a family member that passes away, it's like how to navigate through that as opposed to just regressing and all the things that you were doing before. It's like, there's seasons for everything. You don't have to
That's
always
the life coaching part right there. That's the life coaching part that you have to be open to, because now you guiding that person through that. They're going to hang on every single word that you tell them.
Yeah.
So when it comes, when they feel like, man, I made it through this season of, I got a family member that died and Lindsay was there with me, beside me. I'm going to, you know what? Like, that lends itself to credibility. They're now attached to you.
Yeah.
And they're going to hang on whatever word you say.
Yeah. That's true, but I didn't think about it that way, but.
Like, just because you were able to help them navigate that one hard place in their life, now they're probably a client for life. And then people think that it's going to be the systems and the processes and all the back end stuff. And you got to get this right and you got to get that right to have a successful business, to have clients for life or repeat business and all this stuff. It's just take care of people.
Take care of people.
I think just take care of people wherever they're at.
Yeah.
Whatever they're going through. So whatever that is and whatever that looks like. So.
Yeah. Well, I know look you up for some training because I've been, postpartum and was trying to get my fitness back, with some hormonal stuff. And now I'm like, I feel like I'm ready for a season of I really just want some real growth.
Real hardcore.
You know what I mean? I'm like, yeah. So
I think she got some muscles already. Let's see what you got.
I got some
take
tiny
a
ones.
snapshot for that.
Let's zoom in.
That's gonna be hold on. That'll be the bumper. Like, that'll be the caption here.
Yeah.
I eat more ice cream sandwiches than you.
Yeah. So yeah. No, I mean, I'm open to it. I'm right here at Fort Mill, so I'll be glad to help out where I can.
Yeah.
Do what I can with what I got.
Yeah.
My little tools. I call them my woodworking tools. So I always get little molds that I get to work with, and I got my woodworking tools. I got got the bands, I got the cables. We got all the tools.
Yeah. I think I'm done having kids. Not 99% sure. I think.
All right.
But
What's the timestamp on this
let's
one?
see what
I'm gonna get a text message. I'm gonna get a text message in a couple days.
No
You
way.
say your oldest is what? 4?
4.
All right. You got a
4 and
4-year-old,
2.
2-year-old. Man. Okay. So it's time for another one.
No.
Every 2 years.
No, we already passed that window. So
we're past the 2-year window. Okay.
Yeah. How many kids do you have?
2, 10-year-old and 12-year-old.
Okay. So you did the 2-year age gap
I
thing
did
too.
the 2-year-old. So I understand when you said like having one that's I think my wife was almost exactly 2 years. So it was like one was like a newborn and the other one was like running around the house like
yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right, so I do like to just acknowledge our sponsors and cause called The Common Heart. And The Common Heart is an organization out of Union County that helps to provide food and resources for those that are food insecure. So Common Heart, if you want to look them up online, commonheart.org, and that way you can donate to help out people in the community because they provide food, they provide resources. Those families that are dealing with really tough times and going through a transition in life, you can be someone that helps them out right now. So commonheart.org and donate, even if it's $5. We're talking about giving in church. And it's been really interesting because giving isn't necessarily all about like financially. Giving is time, attention, energy. Like some people, they have a really big social media following. Maybe you can tag Common Heart or whatever cause you hold dear and post them to your story online. That'll get more attention. And that's part of giving. You taking what you have, which is maybe a large following, posting it online, and now more people get to see it. And it could be even donating or volunteering at Common Heart because they also have volunteer opportunities where you can pack food boxes to send out to a lot of the families that need food. So commonheart.org. Thank you for all that you do in the community.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So, and we want to thank Lindsay for her time and if you want to get in touch with her,
Instagram, I would say is probably the easiest way. At Lindsay with an A. Lindsay with an A.
Lindsay with an A.
Lindsay with an A.
Is there a Lindsay with an E too? I think I may have tried to spell it that way before.
Lindsay with an A. Clements fit. My husband and I also, he's PT. We also have a podcast that we do together that we've been doing for a couple of years now. Where we just try to put out some information on health and fitness, and there's lots of different topics on there.
What's the name of the podcast, and where do we find it?
The podcast is called Simple, Not Easy.
Sure.
And you can find it anywhere, Apple, Spotify, wherever. So, but we're trying to, like you, we're trying to get a little bit more intentional about some of the video recording and stuff like that. It's all a journey.
Yeah, it is a journey.
We're working on it.
I think as long as you put the information out there for the right people, even if it's one person whose life has changed by you putting the information out there, then that's what matters, So she's doing something great in the world, y'all. Watch out for the retreat 2025, women's retreat, Myrtle Beach, South Carolina.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Maybe I could have picked a better location.
Is Myrtle Beach not a good location? I haven't even been there.
I like Myrtle Beach.
Dirty Myrtle.
Yeah. Oh.
No, stop it. Gosh, people.
We'll pick a location.
Yeah. She's going to pick a location. 2025, be on the lookout for the women's retreat. Beautiful soul right here, Lindsay Clements. She'll be a good fitness professional to help you out on your journey. Whatever you're dealing with, hit her up. Thank you for checking out Coffee Conversations with Fit Emmett. We're here at Humble Cup. Thank you for hosting us and having us here at your beautiful location here in Fort Mill, South Carolina, and a great cup of coffee.